I think you don't need introduction to my audience.
Hi, I'm Vivek Kandula, and you are watching Backbenching with Vivek. Is it okay to fail? We have to teach our kids, our younger generation, to fail faster, and from the earlier ages.
Take a step back from here.
In my fourth year itself, I started my software company, and my dad didn't know this. India is a dump for a lot of US projects. South Africa is a dump for UK projects because they have the time zone. We always bridge the talent. We always grow the countries apart from our country. So at the early age, I've learned how to manage people who are way experienced than me and way elder than me, and I got an opportunity to be a kind of like a leader. My first logo was designed on paint. Photoshop was like very far-fetched. Traditionally, the way we see businesses is the signboards. We see signboards as a business. We see offices as a business. But there are actual people getting actual revenue who are sitting in smaller stores and they don't even have a branding, they don't even have a logo. Now we are going into a Western system. We have this branding, logo, valuation, everything. We are making it a startup. In my business particularly, I don't need an office. Everything is online.
What is that best strategy that you would recommend?
In 2010, and you're doing advertising in Meta, right now I would have been a millionaire. Yeah, that was the power of Meta. X has that kind of potential right now.
And how do you choose your team members?
We'll do a very quick Instagram live. No one used to watch me, like around 15 20 people used to watch me. Then I used to do an interview, proper interview with them. On the thing. That's where the new talent is, and that is where the new ideas are coming from.
And why podcasting?
Because two things, this is a very tiring job. It's an expensive job.
On reaching out to the guest.
Enthusiasm. That's it.
Is there a question that you think I should have asked and I didn't ask? Hi Vivek, welcome to PowerUp with Pradeep.
Thank you Pradeep. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Right. Vivek, I think you don't need introduction to my audience. Having said that, since we do this in English, and I'm sure there will be some people who don't see your podcast. So this is, guys, just to tell you, this is a podcaster to podcaster podcast, right? So Vivek is popularly known as Backbenching by Vivek, and he does Telugu podcast, right? So Vivek, you are a Strux Digital founder and a podcaster in Telugu, right? Why don't you tell more about yourself on when did you start your Strux and why podcasting?
I'm an engineering graduate from Untold University.
Right.
I'm a computers grad. I have a little bit of computers engineering pedigree. Not always interested in coding, but I've worked in there in the last, right after the college, I started a software company of my own. It was in South Africa. We grew it and it's still functioning, it's still running, it's still doing really well.
Right.
But I've always been a filmmaker.
Okay.
I've always wanted to become a filmmaker. I keep on telling the story to my friends also that I wanted to become a filmmaker. I decided to become a filmmaker. I told my dad said no, and then I became a marketer. So this is a constant thing that is running around.
Right.
So, so to pursue my storytelling passion, I've decided that the next best thing that I can do is become a marketer.
Okay.
So and that didn't come very organically, to be very frank. Opportunities, whenever the opportunities came,
Right.
I just kept saying yes to them, and then a lot of doors opened up to me at a very early stage in my career.
Awesome.
So around 2 years after, 2-3 years after my engineering, so I thought, okay, then someone came and asked me if you can help me do marketing for this. I started a agri-tech company around that.
Wow.
And I grew that agri-tech company using the digital marketing techniques, which I've learned to improve that.
Right.
And when I've seen that the potential what digital marketing can do, what marketing do in the new age, I've decided, I've seen that this can help a lot more people. So we started a marketing agency somewhere around 2019.
Right.
And from there to now, we've spent close to around 50 to 60 crores on advertising. We have worked with close to 400 to 450 clients.
Nice.
So yeah, on multiple segments. So that has been the journey. Maybe we'll just dive a little deeper as we go on. But yeah, that's what we do. The podcast was a very recent venture of mine. Last year around February we have started. That is 2023 February we have started it. 2024 February. This is 25, right?
Yeah. 25.
Oh yeah. I'm on here back. So 24 February we have started it, and the whole idea was to create more awareness about entrepreneurship in local language.
Right.
I felt that has been missing.
Okay.
So, keeping that in mind, we've always got unknown faces most of the times.
Right.
Like if you see our entire lineup,
Yeah.
almost 95% of lineup is just new faces coming.
Right,
We're just
right.
telling their stories out there. So our idea is we don't need to have people already being like, again, you can do a business
Right.
in the most unknown segments and
Yeah.
still be making a lot more money.
Absolutely. I think I was speaking about you coming to the show, the mutual friend to both of us, Anirudh, if you,
Yeah.
right? So I was just telling Anirudh the other day that you're going to come. And by the way, Anirudh also has a podcast, guys. You should check his podcast as well. So Anirudh was telling me, Pradeep, a lot of respect to Vivek. And I'm like, why? Because
You didn't know.
I know as a person,
Yeah.
you're good and all, but respect, what was that making him say that, right? And he was saying a lot of people build podcast by calling in someone who's already an influencer or something like that, but Vivek built his podcast by calling business folks who otherwise are not digitally present, but they have built massive businesses. They do business in terms of 100, 200 or 1000 crores and above, and those are the guys who Vivek actually got in and got the real business out of them in Telugu, and he's built that community. So a lot of respect to you from my side as
Thank
well.
you.
Yeah,
There
over
were
to you.
times when we didn't, like, the guests we called on the podcast didn't have handles to put. So
Handles to
social
put,
handles,
yeah?
they didn't have it.
Okay.
They're like, can you put my website? I'm like, okay, so sure, but do you have your only personal handle if someone wants to reach out? You know, Vivek, the best I can do is my LinkedIn, which is dormant. So I rarely open my LinkedIn. So there are like I understand like the power of LinkedIn, I understand the power of digital, but
Right.
real businesses I've seen people building on just by human interaction.
Right.
Like being one-to-one interaction, being out in the market.
Right.
India's still that kind of market where like 95% of the businesses are still built offline.
Got it.
Right? We talk about this, all this startup ecosystem with like huge valuations, 1,000 crore valuation, unicorn valuations and all.
Yeah.
Forget that. Like if you go to the hubs of the country, if you go to the hubs of the city,
Right.
people are sitting in a small store and doing more turnovers than them, more actual
Okay.
profits than them,
Right.
profits and revenue than them.
Right.
Forget valuations. Yeah,
Yeah,
valuation is
yeah.
just like a numbers game, right? You can just
Yeah.
like, it's just speculation, it's just perception. It's one form of perception.
Right.
But there are actual people getting actual revenue who are sitting in
Absolutely.
smaller stores and they don't even have a branding, they don't even have a logo. Right?
Hmm.
Now we are going into a Western system. We have this branding, logo, valuation, everything. We are making it as a startup, but people have been doing it. India has been a country where trade has been always been the forefront.
Right.
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 So our idea was to bring that knowledge to the new age crowd.
Right.
So we are working on it. It's an ongoing journey, but thank you for recognizing.
So Vivek, I want to get deeper and understand the complete journey of it, right? So let's take a step back from here and go back to your good olden college days. Tell us how did this all start, right? Did you take up employment as an employee and start into the business, or were you a person who just started fresh out of college? How did this whole journey start?
So in my college, in my fourth year itself, I started my software company.
Wow.
And my dad didn't know this.
Okay.
So like when I came out of college and I was sitting in my home and I was working, my dad thought I was jobless. I've started my company in South Africa right in my fourth year of my college.
Okay.
And I've run it for like close to 4 years, and then the management took over.
Right.
Me and my brother, we co-founded it. It
Right.
started out as a HR company.
Right.
So we were body shopping a lot of people from here to UK, here to South Africa.
Okay.
Because India is a dump for a lot of US projects.
Right.
South Africa is a dump for UK projects because they have the time zone.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, but challenge with South Africa is they don't have a lot of talent which can match up to the requirement they have.
Okay.
So that is where the Indians always come in, right? We always bridge the talent. We always grow the countries apart from our country.
Right.
So there we were body shopping people, IT professionals, and they used to get a huge pay rise, and we used to take them to South Africa, and we used to have it. So at any point of time, we used to have around 10 to 12 people who are waiting for contracts. So over a period of time, the companies which we were vendors of said that, hey, since you have people on bench and we have projects, why don't you just take up the projects? So the HR company slowly transitioned into a software company.
Okay.
Yeah. So and we had people. We used to get the projects done. We used to make sure that all the things are done. And I used to handle the people operations. Something I used to handle. So at the early age, I've learned how to manage people who are way experienced than me and way elder than me. And I got an opportunity to be a kind of like a leader, a non-tech leader in a very tech background. On the other side, my strengths are on the storytelling side also, on the marketing side of it, storytelling. So I thought I could explore it actively. When I was in that thought, my neighbor actually came one day and he knocked on my door and said, like, Vivek, I need your help.
Okay.
I said, like, uncle, tell me what can I help you with? The challenge is this gentleman has a bonsai store. Bonsai are small plants. Small plants. He used to sell bonsais and he's a master in bonsais.
Wow.
But the thing is, no one's going to come this far away to buy bonsais from him. And it's not even on the road. And it's a premium product. It's way inside. It's very hard for people to even like find, because you have to have visibility for you people to just come and like try out the products. Right. So he said, Vivek, you know what? I'm not really getting a lot of business. Can you help me do this? Right. So at that point in time, I thought to myself, okay, fine, I'll happily help him out. But the thing is, if I'm going to build something, I'm going to build it on my name. I'm not gonna provide it as a service. I'm gonna build it as a product-based company. Okay. So we started Yumi and Bonsai. It started out as a agri plus gardening tech company. So we started something where we were selling bonsais, but and we created an entity Yumi and Bonsai, and we created a website for it. Again, when that means me. I was the only member. I didn't know how to create websites. Even though I've come from a tech background, but you know how most of the tech people are. I didn't know. Then I figured out something called as WordPress. I built my own website. I've learned how to design my websites. I learned how to design logos. I didn't know how to do that. My first logo was designed on Paint.
Oh.
Again, Photoshop was like very far-fetched. I've tried doing it in Photoshop, then I was like, too complex. Let me just do it in Paint. Okay. Right. So I did it on Paint. Then I created a Facebook page for it. I created this, and I've realized that people don't have to find us. So started something like Google My Business. I've learned SEO. I've learned how to write articles. There is a point of time in my life. There is not forget point of my life. I've never watered a plant. In my entire life. I used to now sit down and write 10,000 word articles on how do you build a bonsai, how do you grow a bonsai. Right. So that's what is required, right? That is what we need to do. So I've learned this by myself. Okay. And then slowly we have grown that small entity into 2 franchises, and the third franchise was supposed to be open. We had a franchise in Hyderabad, we had a franchise in Bangalore, and we had supposed to open a franchise in Chennai. Okay. And then COVID came in. COVID settled in. So we have put a hold on that, and my partner was also retiring. The Bonsai master was also retiring. So we closed that entity. Okay. Then I've started now that I have all this knowledge and this. So we started Strux that. Okay. So that is we started providing services to companies, and that is what has happened. Right. So that's the story of Strux. In the last few years, we have worked with education companies, retail companies, real estate companies, and mainly into lead generation. Okay. One market we have not worked extensively is e-commerce. We have worked. We spent close to 1.5 crore on that, but again, not extensively, right? Okay. But we produced commercials for real estate brands. We have produced commercials for D2C, like e-commerce brands. Right. So right now we are producing. We produce ads. Okay. We do performance marketings. We build marketing systems, and that is the entire entity. We have for Strux, team of 15, lean team, efficient team, and that's how. And we work with a lot of freelancers out there in the market, because that's where the new talent is, and that is where the new ideas are coming from. Right. So we would like to get it from them. So we work with a lot of freelancers. We have a good freelancer network. Awesome. So we tap into that, and that's what we've been doing.
Very nice, very nice. Quite a nice story. So on the start, right? So from Bonsai to Strux. So I understand Bonsai was your venture, and you were working towards social media to scale it up, right?
Yeah.
But when you decided you'll start digital marketing uh, firm, right? How did you get that first client post this transition?
So I was in this room where there was around 40 to 50 business owners, and
Okay.
it was a training program for 3 days.
Right.
And they were teaching us advanced digital marketing techniques.
Okay.
And I got into the room because I loved the pitch they were doing, and I just wanted to understand what's happening. I didn't know that there's a huge tech market in building. So it was one of a success GAN event. So
Okay.
I went there, and we had around close to 8 to 9 like industry leaders coming and explaining us, telling us, teaching us what to do.
Right.
On day one, right at the lunch, because they're telling crazy stuff, they're telling good stuff. But the
Right.
thing is, what I've realized is I've already implemented these in my business without knowing the tags, the names and the tags. Right? So I've already done that. So I was like just listening. It was just kind of like a validation system for me. Like, oh,
Sure.
this is called this. Oh, this is called this. This is called this. That
You're
happened.
basically learning jargons there.
That is, yeah, absolutely. So I've done it already. Jargons is something I was learning right there. But a lot of people in the room, all business owners, they had questions on like how to actually implement the theory they were talking about.
Right.
So, and when the person on my right started talking about it, I started giving him clear point-to-point answers. So just like, hey, you have to do this, you have to do this, this is what you have to do, this is how it should look like. And right when I was doing that, over a period of that break, I've seen 3-4 people come and join me.
Okay.
And at every break after that, I've seen more people join me, and by end of day 2, I can see actually 20 people around me in every break, and they were just like asking me questions. And I was like very, very innocently answering everyone's question, like, hey, you have to do this, you have to do this. And not even like a consulting style where I'm like, oh, why do you do this? Why do you do? No, I was like giving them straight on the point answers. It was like a lot of value for them.
Yeah.
So by end of day 2, people started approaching me that, hey, Vivek, you know what? Whatever you said makes sense. I don't really have the time to implement this. Can you help me with this?
Right.
At that point in time, there was no Strux.
Right.
There was nothing. I used to have my bonsai business, and I used to have my software business.
Okay.
Then I saw them. I was like, I don't know whether I'll have the bandwidth to do it. I'll have to offboard certain things. I was just thinking about it. By end of day 3, half of day 3, a lot of around 5 to 6 people came in.
Okay.
And they started like saying, hey, Vivek, you know what, can you help me out with this? I was still thinking. At the end of day 3, something really interesting happened. Someone like sent me 10,000 rupees on my into my account using PhonePe. And said that, Vivek, you know, now you have to work with me. I've booked 2 hours of your consultation. You have to work with me to build my entire thing. I'm like, this sounds viable.
Wow.
Why not? If someone is like, the universe is pushing too much for me to do this, why shouldn't I do this? And I'm good at it. Why not? And that was how that one client in that room converted into 7 clients.
Okay.
So that is how Strux started. Now, even now, I tell, let us say there are a team who are working with me and want to start out. And and that is pretty normal in our industry. People who work with us, they have aspirations to be entrepreneurs.
Right.
And so I clearly tell them, see, if you want to start out, if you want to start off with yourself, make sure that you have clients.
Right.
Forget about registering your business. Forget about doing something else.
Yeah.
Forget about getting an office. Get 5 clients, and that is when your business starts.
Correct.
Right. So that's what I tell. That's what I got. That's how Strux started. The Strux started because there was a problem. There was a use case, and we started Strux. And it started out as a one-person entity. I had one person who had been working with me in my software company and also my Bonsai and this thing. I got her here also. She's been working even now with me from the past, I think, 10 years at this point of time. So she's there, and me. She used to do all the menial tasks. Again, she used to do that. I used to do the strategy. I used to do the implementation. From then, now we grew into 15 people company, and we do not want to grow past it because I would like to keep my teams lean, and they are much more efficient that way. That is what I believe.
Get that.
Yeah.
Get that. So you mentioned get client first, not the registration, right? Why do you say that? Point one. Point two, when did you register?
So I've registered like 2 months into the thing.
Okay.
So Strux started when I got 7 clients.
Okay.
Right, I got my 7 clients, and I've been working with them. I've been taking money into my
So you
personal
were
account.
working as a freelancer. If I
Yeah, I was working as kind of like a freelancer. It was like more like a consultant kind of freelancer kind of
Sure,
thing.
sure.
Then I've realized that I can't do this. Freelancing is something I can't really do. I always projected myself as a company.
Sure.
Like even then also, I said like I used to tell them that we have around 2 people who are gonna help you out with it. That's what
Okay.
I told. I used to take freelancers help then and there also.
Okay.
Then over a period of time, over a period of 2-3 months, I've registered my company because I think that is the thing. We registered as a proprietorship when we were
Right.
started out.
Right.
Now we are a proprietorship and a private limited company. We have 2 companies, we have 2 entities.
Got it.
Strux Digital Private Limited and Strux Digital Proprietor Company. But the thing is, why do we need to not register first is because traditionally, the way we see business is the signboards.
Yeah.
We see signboards as a business. We see offices as a business. I can tell you right now that I've seen people with huge offices not even cracking the 30% or 10% profit what we do. Because the capital expenditure is heavy when you go to an office.
Right.
It's huge. It's a huge capital expenditure. So I was very, very clear. My dad had we had businesses before. My dad is a banker. He's a lawyer. He's a banker, and he has that entrepreneurship bug. So he has real estate. He did real estate. He did mining. We've learned a lot. We fell down a lot. We learned a lot, and I've seen that offices don't really help.
Yeah.
Right. So in my business particularly, I don't need an office. Everything is online. Even if the client is like 6 kilometers away from me, I tell them come on a video call.
Okay.
Come on Zoom. Like if you want to come on, just chat on a coffee with me, I'm happy to meet. But if you want to talk business, no, just come on a video call because I can practically write down notes. I can give you things. I can show you things.
Right.
Because most of the things are online. So I think till 2023 end,
Yeah.
I never had an office.
Okay.
My entire team was remote. I've managed close to like 80-90 crores in advertising spend without having an office, and my team is also not in Hyderabad.
Got it.
My entire team was remotely spread out across the country. They were in Lucknow, there was Bangalore, they were in Kerala, they were in Delhi, Kolkata, across because we hired specialists or we trained specialists.
Get that.
That is what we do. So it was always remote. Now that we got here, now that we are here, the reason we took up an office is only because we need a production space because we started doing podcasts.
Got it.
I've explored this consistently. I've seen, I think you also can relate to this. Renting a podcast, if you want to do a podcast continuously, if you're very serious about it, renting a podcast studio is going to be very, very hard on your pocket.
Absolutely.
Right.
Hands down agreed.
Yeah, because, and again, if you're bootstrapping it, 100%. If you are like having investors in it, that's a different ballgame altogether.
Yeah.
You can always do that. You can do multiple locations, you're traveling out. But if you want to do it bootstrapped, and I'm not really into getting investments. I'm much into a bootstrapped ecosystem because I want to keep the equity myself. I want to have that kind of freedom when I'm starting out. When I'm growing, if I want to dilute my equity, fair enough, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But when I'm starting out, I want that freedom to experiment a lot of things because that is how I do.
Makes sense.
So podcasts, to do that, I thought, okay, fine. Now I think it's high time that we invest in a space, and we took a space and then we built an entire studio for ourselves and we did it. Till then, I've seen a requirement, I've seen a problem, clear problem. I've never invested in something such a big capital expenditure.
Understand.
Because of that, almost 40%, 30% of my profits were saved. I can invest it back into my business.
Right.
So in the starting phases, right, investing back into your business is very, very important. So people don't do this a lot. They keep it running and they take money from outside. Now there's only so much money you can take from outside when you're bootstrapped, right? You keep asking your family. I've started my business with zero.
Yeah.
It was my time. I put in my time. You either pay by time or you pay by money. So I put in my time. I built my company from scratch. I put in my money to grow it. So I know the pain of just getting the money from outside or just like putting in. So that's what we have done. So that is what I keep on telling. Get your clients, get your money, don't spend on unnecessary things, be very, very frugal with what you do. And that is how you build long-lasting empires. Building frugal doesn't mean you're not spending on the right things. You have to spend. Investments are absolutely necessary,
Yeah.
right? At this point of time, right now, I have subscriptions. My team has subscriptions. I have subscriptions to all the AIs. We do it with Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. We use Midjourney. We use 11 Labs. We have every subscription.
Wow.
Because that is where I want to invest.
Right.
That is where I should be investing in also.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because that's where innovations is happening. I want to be on top of it.
Right.
Invest where is necessary, but be frugal with things which are not needed. Don't go with the norms.
Hmm.
Break the mold. If
Yeah.
you're breaking the mold, only then you'll be able to do something which is transformational. That is
Right.
what I believe.
Got it. Got it. Quite an interesting point that you made. Keep it lean and build. Don't just invest in unnecessary things. Very, very valid. In fact, that's very, very important element for any business to thrive in the market.
Yeah.
Vivek, on that note, one of the things that I believe on investment, right? Hiring a team, right? Obviously, any business is built by its team, right? Without team, you can't build it. So, how did you choose, or when did you hire rather, and how do you choose your team members?
My first employee was the person who has worked with me from the start.
Right.
And now she has been always my first employee. But the first technical hire was done through a Instagram live.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I started my business out, I've realized that, okay, fine, I can't do this events consistently, but I still need to give out information.
Sure.
So I started doing content on Instagram.
Okay.
Now, when I started out, I did not want to start with zero.
Okay.
So I had my personal profile, which is around 500 followers.
Okay.
So I changed that personal profile into a business profile. Even now, if you scroll down Backbenching with Vivek, scroll enough, you'll get around 200 to 250 videos around marketing in particular, digital marketing in particular, core topics.
Okay.
And if you scroll on more, you'll find my photos, right? So it's my personal channel, which we connected into a business channel, then now converted into a podcast channel. So I didn't want to create new channels for this. So when we did this, like a lot of people, I got very good clients. So I got in the first a year of running, I generated close to 60 to 70 lakhs in business. Right. From clientele, and I'd grown by around 100 followers. That's it. So I got 100 followers, but 70 lakhs in business. Right? It's not always money doesn't really resonate. Is equal
absolutely,
to
absolutely.
But what I've got is I've got good talent approaching me.
Okay.
Like interested people. Hey Vivek, you know what? You act like I would like to learn from you. I would like to work with you. I would like to do this. So what I used to do is I used to get on like say fantastic. I would like come on like we'll do a very quick Instagram live.
Yeah.
I used to get them on Instagram live. My followers used to watch me. No one used to watch me. Like around 15-20 people used to watch me. Then I used to do an interview, proper interview with them.
Oh, on Instagram live. Okay.
Now I just wanted to say how they can like sustain one, always the skill, the soft skills. Are they able to talk? Are they able to present themselves in a good way? Number 3 is can they face the heat? Okay. In the open crowd. That is the 3 things. So if you remember,
challenging actually.
Yeah. So like Facebook used to hire people using hackathons.
Oh yeah.
Right. So for me, this was the closest thing I could do to them. So every primary hires I did was through Instagram lives.
Nice.
Yeah. So nice. I had like close to 4.5 people with Instagram lives only.
Okay.
I say 4.5 because one person was like, we hired him as a freelancer because we didn't have the confidence to take him because he was not really good. So we're like, be a freelancer with us. Like, see if we can handle this project. If it works out, then good, I'll take you on board. That was it. So that was 4.5 for me. So that was the idea. That was my hiring principle. One thing I look for when I'm hiring is they might not be heavily skilled.
Right.
In this, because at that point of time, a lot of people were learning a lot of things.
Right.
It was a very young and fresh ecosystem.
Right.
I was looking for grit. I was looking for someone who has interest in doing it, someone who's a talent to do that. Right. I have hired experienced people way early in my career. I should have. Now that I look back, I should have. Right. But the thing is, at that point of time, I was actively working in the business, not on the business, in the business.
Right.
So I was the strategist, I was the experience, right? So that covered the gaps. The gap was I needed people to implement it. So that point of time, they were good. Yeah. Now we have hired people who are more experienced than me to run the show.
Right.
Now I've been replaced. Now I work on the business.
Got
Right.
that.
So now I've been replaced with more experienced people, and they are running the show. So I'm very, very happy with my current team. I should have done it much more earlier, maybe, but again, that's how I learned. I'm happy with it.
So, Vivek, how did you scale Strux? So we spoke on how you started hiring and all that. I want to really understand scaling because agency, otherwise, people keep saying that it has the upper cap and it can't be scaled. It's not a scalable business model, right? How did you scale? What did you make things? How did you make things differently that you are able to scale it?
So the biggest problem with any service-based businesses are the human capital.
Right.
Right. There is a limitation of good talent you can get.
Right.
And the second unknown limitation to a lot of business owners is the pricing capital. In our market, surprisingly, particularly Indian subcontinent market, right, people look to undercut other people's prices on a consistent basis.
Okay.
Now that's a very bad way to go about it, right? So let us say if someone is providing services, if you can do a better job, don't undercut the person, your competitor.
Right.
Price a little higher. You can what happens is you will normalize the industry standard prices because of that.
Right. Right.
A lot of people, what they do is, hey, my competitor is doing it 1,000 rupees, let me do it at 500 rupees. That is what they do, right? And that is not the game you have to play. Even though if you are less experienced or less doing things, but again, if you are specialized, that's a different game. Less experienced, that's a different game altogether.
Yeah.
The clients have to choose a lot better.
Right.
But what I have decided is, from day one, we do not want to play in a price heavy or price heavy market particularly. We want to position ourselves as a premium agency.
Right.
So whenever the clients, every time we get a client, we increase our price by 10%.
Got that.
And we have tested this multiple times. And what we have seen is, unless and until we get a objection from the client, we don't stop increasing the prices.
Understood.
Right? There will be a point of time when the client will say, "Do you think it, no, this is way above." That means you have to upskill yourself.
Okay.
You have to provide more value. It's not
Right.
that you should stop charging.
Yeah.
You just need to provide him more value.
Right.
Like again, he's not making enough money for you to justify your pricing.
Right.
That is what I've realized.
Right.
So since marketing is a much more closer activity to revenue,
Yeah.
I can actually charge him on the outcomes.
Get that.
We're not a branding agency. We're not doing a lot of branding activity. We are not doing a lot of awareness activity.
Right.
We are technically we do a lot of performance marketing that is very, very close to the revenue we bring into the company.
Understood. Yeah.
So I can actually see how much revenue is generating. So I'd say that, hey, I think it's fair enough for you to give me this amount of money,
Right.
just because I'm bringing you this amount of money. Right?
Right.
If I'm not performing, feel free to drop me out.
Right.
So that's the market we have played. The reason we were able to generate good amount of revenue so much faster, and we were able to sustain it is just because of the results we got and the premium pricing which we put ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah. But as you said, services businesses have a cap, definitely have a cap. Now, the way, again, this is what we are trying to make it out also. The game is to productize your service.
Okay.
This is where you take your service, package it in such a way that it is suitable for a particular niche.
Right.
Now, if you're going on creating services, done for you services, that is, you're doing a full service thing for companies, it is absolutely not scalable.
Okay.
Right? There is a reason of why consulting companies consult.
Right.
Even with a broader scope, right? There are consulting companies who are very, very, very specialized in certain markets.
Correct.
And they focus on that.
Right.
And they can grow much more faster. The reason being, one, they're specialized. Second is because they have SOPs clearly meant.
Right.
So I've studied this. So one thing we decided is we're going to niche down to a particular thing. We're going to charge premium. Third thing is we're going to productize the service. We're going to say it's not like giving a rate card that you get like this, and this, right? It is going to be little more flexible than that.
All right.
And we're going to provide these services and this is going to be the number of hours we're going to put in for you,
Right.
and we're going to charge you this much. Anything over that will be billed by hour. So we have a retainer plus incentive kind of model.
Oh,
So
nice.
that is the reason we do that. So by doing this, what happens is the client also gets what he needs, and anything additional, because sometimes you have a launch.
Right.
Sometimes you have an activity which has to be done ASAP. Sometimes the team comes up, the internal team comes up with an idea, and it is the CEO's job to make sure that that is being facilitated.
Correct.
And that is where we come in and help him to make sure the collateral are coming out,
Okay.
the thing is being put out. So that is not part of the scope. You can't just say that like, hey, this is not part of the scope, we can't do this, this is last minute. That is because I see where he's coming from. He wants to support this team's idea. We are there to support him too. That is what service business is about, right?
Got it.
So be a little more flexible, but have a clear boundary. So this really helped us to streamline this activity.
Got it. I think you rightly mentioned the pricing part of it, right? Pricing war is a very big challenge in any business. In fact, we have seen what happened with telecom industry, right?
Yeah.
There were so many players back then at a point in time. Today, you can count on the fingers how many actually players exist, right? So pricing war is a very risky game to play, and as you rightly said, provide more value instead of getting into pricing war, right? Rightly said there.
Particularly in service business, definitely, because there's only so much you can go down. There is no number below zero.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
But there's only so many numbers above zero.
Absolutely.
Like above your certain. There's so much ceiling, but there's only certain floor.
Yeah.
So don't go down. Always go up in your servicing, service fees. Again, the market will tell you when to stop.
Correct.
Just put your ear on towards the market, and they'll be able to tell you like, hey, this is something which is not really viable.
Right.
And then that's okay. That kind of feedback is okay.
Fair. In fact, Vijay in my team, right? Me and Vijay always have this conversation. We were just seeing the ad of the day, and we got to see 5,999 social media marketing. I'm like, what are these guys gonna give in that price?
I've seen a website done at 999 rupees.
Whoa!
I'm like, hosting cost you 2,000 rupees. Boy, how is he giving a website at 999? I'm like,
so
what kind of plug-in play is this?
A lot of times, we both have this conversation, me and Vijay, saying, is this real or is this guy going to take money online and then jump away? Another scam of sorts, right?
Either he has a very solid offer where he can constantly upsell and make money, or this is kind of like a, how do I put it? It's like a lead magnet or whatever you use. Like it's just like a freebie you give to attract your client. That might be it. Or you might have a very strong marketing value ladder, or is a scam. There's no between this. There's absolutely no between this.
And most of the time it is the other side of it.
Yeah.
Because
like,
people on this side who are strong would never do that because they would charge premium, as you said, right? Because that's their moat.
Right.
And they want to play on the moat, right? Yeah.
People don't understand moat, right? Like again, particularly service industry, people who are coming on as freelancers right now don't understand moat.
Right.
That is also a very big problem.
Yeah.
So long legacy businesses, when I've studied legacy businesses, when I've studied businesses who are across 10 years, companies which are like doing really well, everyone has a moat. Even if they play in the same industry as like 10 different players, they have a moat.
Yeah.
So having a moat in service industry is also very important. Most of the time, moat is your specialization.
Right.
So specialize. That will give you much more, revenue and money and importance and value also, particularly to clients. You can provide much more better value.
Absolutely. So since we're speaking of moat and specialization, and you also mentioned you niche down and that's when you scaled, right? What is that larger segment base that you work in? I know service, you still have to cater to certain people out of either obligation or out of your old clientele that you started with, right? But otherwise, what is that at Strux that you focus on?
We do a lot of edtech companies.
EduTech is your specialization?
EdTech has been my specialization.
Okay.
The biggest players in the market, we have worked with them, we have scaled them to like very good revenues, and we have done that with proper marketing systems. Okay. That is one industry we have played with. We've also played with the real estate industry.
Okay.
But lead generation is our primary right now mode at this point of time. Earlier it was EdTech. Now we've moved a little broader because our team is much more specialized. Okay. We have different teams for EdTech. We have different teams for real estate. So we have done it for tech, real estate. We have also done it for consulting companies. We do a lot for consulting companies.
Okay.
Not in India. Our clientele is in US and UK.
Okay.
US, UK, even in Australia, but majority in US and UK. We do a lot of work for consultants, and we book appointments for them.
Awesome.
We make sure that is what is being done. Even we've done it for alternative medicine. We've done it for healthcare. So we've done a few industries. But again, these kind of broader spectrum, we've done it in the last 2 years itself.
All right.
Before that, it was just a tech. We stuck to it. We knew what our guns are. Now that we know the markets, we grew as an entity because the entire knowledge bank of the company is not just coming from Vivek, it's coming from the entire team.
Right.
We've took a very conscious decision to broaden our spectrums, and then we created specialized cohort teams to work in certain industries, and they work. So when a client comes in from healthcare, the healthcare team will work them on it.
Right.
The management will be common, but the healthcare team will work on it. If it comes from real estate team will work on it. Because we know the SOPs, we have the SOPs ready. Okay. We know what works, we know what doesn't work. And whatever is working for one client of ours, we don't copy paste it, but we know how do we understand the core value of it. What is the messaging that is working? And we try to mold that messaging over here and we push it forward.
Got it.
So that's what we've been doing.
So I'll come to this messaging piece. How do you stop a guy scrolling Instagram? But before that, I want to ask this question. Since you said you operate in US market, Australia market, in Europe market, right? I was reading this somewhere and on probably Twitter, someone wrote, right? If you have a Indian name versus you change your name as some Western name, right? This works as a Western name works versus Indian name was the conversation on that Twitter thread is what I saw. What is your take on this?
Your company location really matters when you're doing international clientele, and your and your name really matters. There's again, our name is Strux Digital. That really helped till a point where it was not Vivek Consulting Companies or something like that. Strux Digital. So that really helped. What I've realized recently is like registering our companies in an abroad location really helps. So we're working towards that.
Oh, awesome.
Oh yeah, we're moving. We're probably going to have an office in US and also one in Dubai.
Awesome.
So we're going to move towards that because we've seen whenever we put for this software company we had, our office was in South Africa in Johannesburg. So whenever we put that out, it really helped. So Midrand was one of the locations we had it. Here now we are moving to Dubai and we are going to US and UK and what gives us is we say that it's not an Indian company who is ready to do it at a very smaller price, right? They're gonna ask like, no, this is the industry state. No, that is the industry state in India,
right?
But we're still providing services in US market.
Yeah,
we're still providing competitive services. Now you can't undercut our prices just because we are from India, because you're still getting the same value from us,
right?
Whatever you're gonna get from an international US consultancy or UK consultancy.
Yeah.
So I don't decrease my prices because of that. But when I move to international country locations, what happens is the convincing gets a lot more easier. Yeah, the convincing gets a lot more easier. I can say, hey, we are based out of Wisconsin.
Right.
Hey, we are based out of Delaware.
Right.
Yeah, we tell them, hey, we are based out of UAE. We have an office in UAE.
Right.
Now, you can always set up an office in UAE. That's not that hard now. Nowadays. That's the reason people do it in Singapore. And also for the tax purposes. In India, when something is coming from export, now they probably might add something.
Right.
So for tax purposes, we can do that. It's much more easier. Even if you think about taking money in, think about PayPal or TransferWise or something like all the platforms, right? They prefer onboarding an UAE company much faster than an Indian company also. That's also been there. So for these reasons, it makes sense if you're targeting international market, you might as well like go to US or there are, I know a person who set up, a friend of a friend who set up his company in Southern America. In Colombia. Right. And he says, Vivek, why do you go to international locations? One, because of tax purposes. In Colombia, the tax is almost zero. Yeah, because they moved to Bitcoin.
That's a learning for me.
Yeah, so that's what he has done. He asked me to come. I'm like, little too far. US I can still manage because I have family there. I can like get Colombia. Like, I'll set it up for you. I'm like, No.
Okay.
But Dubai is a very, very prospectful country.
Right.
US is a very prospectful country, so you can
Right.
go there.
Got it. So, when you guys reach out to these people, you change name or you keep the name same?
Nothing changes.
Right?
We say we're an Indian company. We say that we have an Indian team.
Okay.
We say that we have worked, but the thing is, our case studies prove are much more stronger.
Okay.
Right? They see
Okay.
results.
Okay.
They come with us, and when they come on a call, then I make sure that I do a call with them before we onboard.
Right.
When they come on a call, I clearly understand what the problems are.
Okay.
Right? And so, okay, this is if someone is getting into service industry, this is going to be very, very helpful. If you are getting on a call with the client before you're taking them on board,
right?
If that means this is your closing call.
Right.
People pitch in their closing call. I don't pitch in my closing call. I still try to dissect the business, right? I try to dissect the business and I tell them, this is the problem. ABC is the problem. Now, this ABC problem has been the same for one of my client. Let me bring you that case study. Right? Break down the entire case study with the same problems. And then we tell them, okay, this is what they have realized now. This is what they've been doing.
Okay.
And this is how much they pay.
All right.
Now, at any point of time, we can only take X number of clients. We are at X minus 1 or X minus 2.
Right.
So we only have bandwidth to take another one client, and this is my calendar.
Right.
The calendar is booked. So please make sure that you're taking a decision faster.
Okay.
So when we do that, what happens is conversion happens faster and you can close them in the call.
Understood.
Right? So make sure that don't extend the call, don't send them proposals. I don't send proposals to people. Very, very rarely. Like if someone asks me a proposal particularly, then I get my proposal done from someone else and I send it. I'm against to creating proposals.
Is it?
Yeah, proposals don't really work. You have what you're going to give.
Right.
Tell them in the call, get a soft yes and send them a contract.
Yeah, that's still a proposal of sorts, but more of a converted.
You send him an invoice and a contract.
Yeah,
Tell them like clear the invoice and I can sign the contract and we can get started.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So absolutely. If someone says, "Come, send me a proposal," I look at it. I constantly say, someone says, "Hey, Vivek, that's good. Can you send me a proposal?" I say, like, this is nothing of a proposal. Let me tell you what you're gonna get. I'm gonna break down the services right there, and in the call itself, and tell them this is what you're gonna get. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Is this price okay with you? Okay, even in the call also, right instant, hey, our minimum level of engagement starts from $3,000 a month.
Right.
Right? Are you okay with this? Can we go forward? He's like, yeah, that is a little steep, but I think I can manage. Fantastic. Let me explain. Let me tell you what are you struggling with. The conversation of money starts a little more earlier. As first generation entrepreneurs who do not really do business before, not coming from business family, right? Having that money talk is much more harder for people.
Yeah.
Right? We don't talk about money.
Right.
So that is very, very important. That's what I've learned over a period of time. Let's put the thing I'm uncomfortable right in the front. Let us face it head on.
Got it.
So I talk about money a little front and then say I get a soft launch, then soft yes. Then I do the entire breakdown. Then we do the case study. Then we say, when he talks about like, hey, this is what you get. This is what you're going to cost you. Right? Are you okay with it? Can I send you a contract? Hey, fantastic, good. I'm going to send you an invoice right now. Can you clear this by in the next 2-3 hours?
Okay.
If he says yes, good, cool. Then I'm going to send you a contract. Give me your bank details.
Understood.
So this is the conversation that goes.
Got
it helps me convert the clients much faster.
Understood.
So that is what I suggest people do also.
Fair point. I think I slightly have a contrarian viewpoint here, having worked in sales for 15 years. So I see proposals have a different use case altogether. As in, they establish what you're going to do. What really happens a lot of times, right? Clients speak to you over the call or they are on the go, and because they are anyway juggling between multiple things, but they still want to speak and understand. Now, what happens is they don't, like, attention span is less. Sometimes it gets missed out. So proposal helps them understand what the value proposition that we are offering to them, and most of the time conversions, depending on the ticket size, depending on the product type, right? Conversions don't happen on the spot, right? Maybe for digital marketing it might work, but if it is slightly higher ticket size, it doesn't work, right? So their proposal has its role where it will get the person go back and check. Did I miss something which this company was telling me? Let me go back and check. And they have that option to, re-see and then take a cautious call. So that what happens on the go if they take decision, there's a possibility of they coming back and saying, oh, I didn't think of this, but I said yes to you then. That chances will come down. And that long term getting hooked to you would come in. That's how I see it.
So I think it makes sense for me to explain the entire context. So right before the call, we send them our case studies.
Okay, so you still have something which is going there.
So we send them the case studies.
Okay.
So they are sold on us before they get on our call with us.
Then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense.
And then our call is just for us to think of it like a one-on-one consultation, and we're just closing you on a particular thing. What you said is absolutely right. You need to do proposals for higher ticket prices.
Yeah.
In our markets, when there's a ticket price of around $3,000 a month or like $5,000 a month, the thing is, they know what they're gonna get, and we deal mostly with minimum small level companies. They think about, like, when I say small level companies, I mean lean companies, which is like 6-member team, 7-member team. Like we're not dealt with MNCs till now. Right. So the biggest MNC we've dealt with is probably a 250 people company, but we have dealt with, even then we dealt with the CMO. Got that. So we always deal with decision makers. So it is for them, we clearly tell them, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
If you want, we can give you the footnotes of it. Proposal of sorts, this is the package, we've put it forward. So that really has been the conversations. Maybe in my next, maybe that is certain requirement in the industry to send proposals. You should do it. There's nothing wrong with it. In our industry, there has been requirement, but we're trying to change the norm.
Fair enough.
That's what was happening.
See, I see this will exist in the ecosystem, and it has its role, because decision making, if it is single person taking in, makes sense.
Right.
Otherwise, if there are multiple people, even if it is a 6-people team, let's say while there is a CMO, if he has to discuss with CEO, he still needs that written proposal of it. That's how it is. Coming back to the digital marketing discussion again, Vivek. Let's say I'm a company, I have say 10,000 rupees as a budget to spend. Should I spend that on organic content, or should I spend that on ads? What would work?
Ads is a way to put fuel on the fire.
Okay.
Yeah, ads is not a way to start.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Sure.
People, they think that if I can just put in money into my offer, it's going to work out. No. Validation of an offer is more important, and how you validate is also very, very important.
Right.
At the current phase, shifting to a community first approach really works.
Okay.
Right. So for example, what do I mean by community first approach? When you're building your company, make sure that you're not just building your company, but also building a community parallelly.
Got it.
Community of people who is facing the same issues what your company is trying to solve.
Right.
If you're building a community constantly, then when you have your product ready, or you have your offer ready, or your launch ready, you can always leverage and primary test you're using this community. Now it can be 100 people community, it can be 200 people community. It doesn't matter. 100 people is minimum. Right. If you have it, you can dry test the offer. Once the dry test is done, then you can put in money to do another layer of testings.
Got you.
Right, and going into a little bit open markets, see how it is being leveraged, how it is being accepted, how it is being seen. Then if it is working out even in those primary tests, then it makes sense for you to scale and do ads. Right. So ads is not the first step always. Sure. It is called advertising for a reason. It is called performance marketing for a reason. Don't do that unless until you have your offer validated. You start out small, validate your offer with your community, with your organic presence, with your probably in your circle or in your network. And then once it is done, then you can put it out in ads. Before then, don't do that. That is why I suggest my clients also.
Right. So within ads, right? Let's say now I have built my organic. That's what, if I correctly understood what you said, organic is first. You build your organic and then move to ads. Correct?
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, let's say I have a page on Facebook, Instagram, and fairly on Google also, right? I have my business registered on Google, let me call that, right? Now, which platform should I choose? What do you think is better platform from a lead quality standpoint if I have to get leads? Consider since your strength is construction and edutech. Let's say edutech, right? I have a course and I want to sell that, right? Which platform do you think will get me better quality leads, and what is the cost per customer acquisition cost?
Okay, so even if you're going with a particular industry,
Sure.
education industry in particular, or construction industry or particular real estate in particular, um we can't still narrow down the channel.
Oh, okay.
We can't do that. The
Okay.
reason being, for example, right now we're working with a leadership coach,
Sure.
right? And then we are working with an autism coach,
Okay.
right? For autism coach, Facebook groups are great because mothers are still in Facebook group, right?
Okay.
Instagram is good.
Okay.
For a leadership coach, Instagram is not really great.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is not really great. For her, it has to be good on her YouTube and LinkedIn. I have to do a video first platform and a text first platform.
Got that.
Always choose a video first platform, one platform which is video first, and another platform which is text first.
Okay.
Now, you might be thinking, yeah, we will be going in the LinkedIn direction, right? Now, we've taught that. We try that out. What we've realized is Twitter, which is right now X, has much more traction for leadership coaches.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is an insight which we got when we were trying out.
Acha.
Right? So you can't just like narrow down on a single channel. You need to identify where, again, 3 B's of marketing, right? You need to identify where your customers are actually there. So you first identify where they are, which channel are they actually following it. First, obviously the first choice would be like LinkedIn, yeah, because it's leadership coaching, we need like CXOs there. But CXOs are unfiltered on X.
Okay.
Right? Your LinkedIn is still managed by your team. A lot of CXOs team, LinkedIn's are managed by team. But X as a platform, because of the short form content and like the way it is, you just like put on random things. No one's going to judge you because you put on random things.
Right.
Like random things. You just like think of it like a texting to an open network.
Yeah.
The CXOs are doing it them by themselves.
Okay.
So now if they are on the platform, they're gonna consume things on the platform also.
Understood.
So it makes sense for us. So it made sense for us that we chose this platform.
Got
so
it.
When we were creating organic content, we chose Twitter over LinkedIn.
Right.
Because budget, right? You still have limited amount of money.
Right.
So we chose that over this. Instead of creating content on LinkedIn, we chose this. And that worked out really, really well for us.
Understood. Yeah.
Then we took it a step further. Now that we know that X is working, why don't we do ads on X?
Okay.
And when we realize this, the funnel is much more longer for her. Again, I don't want to delve deep into that. But what we realized is our cost of acquisition from an Instagram or on YouTube is, and versus our cost of acquisition on X. Our X is almost like 1/10 of it.
Okay.
The reason being, there is something called as CPM. CPM is cost of reaching 1,000 people.
Right. Right.
In YouTube, the cost of reaching 1,000 people is 500 rupees. In X, it is 60 rupees.
Whoa.
Yeah. So advertising on X is a lot cheaper. It is an untapped market. Think of it like Meta in 2010s. If you have an good offer in 2010 and you're doing advertising in Meta, right now I would have been a millionaire.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the power of Meta. Twitter has that, X has that kind of potential right now. Right?
Okay.
So if you see that there's something being validated in X, it's working out, you might as well put money in there. So this is very, very similarly, we have done that for another one of our clients. So we have identified that that's it. She's a Telugu finance coach.
Okay.
She's a Telugu finance coach.
Right.
We've realized that how do we, like again, one video first platform is YouTube. We went with YouTube instead of Instagram.
Right.
Another platform we want to do text. Now
Okay.
Telugu first, there were like only 3 options right before it. LinkedIn, Twitter, and then there were Threads, which is an extension of Instagram. We thought of doing that. Then we sat down and there were no real interactions happening there.
Yeah.
Again, like Twitter, there was a lot of Telugu buzz, but the challenge is they're talking about films.
Okay.
Right? Then once I was scrolling, I saw people putting out stories about ShareChat.
Okay.
Then we explored the platform.
Sure.
When we explored the platform on ShareChat, what we have realized is people are consuming knowledge, and they have, even ShareChat has a very, very strong vernacular base, that is the local language base. The challenge is people are, the platform is cheap. It is on the lower end.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who are consuming knowledge in there.
Okay.
Because it is Telugu first platform. It's a local first platform.
Community
First platform.
Yeah.
So we did share chat ads for her.
Okay.
And we used to do a webinar kind of workshop kind of funnel. For normally, if you have to acquire a 49 rupee customer in another platform, it used to cost us 200 rupees.
Right.
That's how it is. It's a loss ladder. You lose money in the front, then you make money in the later parts of it. We used to make money in first. In loss ladder, there is no loss. For a 49 rupee product, we used to get an acquisition at 9 rupees.
Right.
We were like, what is this? And even it didn't affect our conversion rates also.
Awesome.
That was a very untapped mind. So you do not really know. You need to explore. You need to have an open mind. And you need to have a little bit of mind where you're like, where are the customers?
Right.
Right. So alternatively, this is how you approach this.
Get that.
Yeah. So that is my two cents about how do you approach which channel. There is no single answer. There are alternative platforms out there which you can explore. All the platforms will have similar advertising patterns. They are very, very native in the way they are approaching it now.
Right.
Very, very starting.
Right.
So if you spend around 5,000 rupees, you'll get a good amount of reach.
Got it.
Go ahead and do that.
Understood.
Yeah.
So on the cost per acquisition that you said, 60 rupees you said, 60 on Instagram, Meta, and 500 on Google.
Not that much difference. So Meta would be around like 200, Google will be around 430, 450, somewhere around that.
Technically double of.
Double because platform, yeah.
So a lot of these edutech coaches, when they do webinar, I'm sure that is happening through the sponsored ad, right?
Yeah.
And here there are two questions. One, how do you create that creative which will stop the guy from scrolling and stop at that ad, right? What is the design concept that you take up, right? That is one. Two, on the quality of the lead that comes in, while the cost of acquisition is on one side, quality of the lead also, conversion rate also comes in, right? Now, I want to understand from you, one, how do you stop scrolling on Instagram? Because once person gets on Instagram, they keep scrolling. But then somehow you guys design ads in such a way that a person stops and sees it. What is that goes in your head which will help you create that artwork or whatever you call it?
People underestimate this because, but if you look at an ad, right, now think of it like a real estate.
Yeah.
Right? If you think of an ad, the ad, 80% of the ad will constitute of your creative.
Correct.
Sometimes 100%.
Yeah.
90-95% of it. And there's some text on the top, there is this logo on the top and all that stuff. Right? Your creative plays a very, very important role when you're doing performance marketing.
Right.
Right. Now, when you're doing a creative, that is a static creative, that's a photo image.
Right.
Your image has to, like, people think that, hey, there are certain times when we started out with a few people, the client said, like, Vivek, I'm not really looking good. Do you think I should get a photo shoot done from a good photographer? I'm like, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
It doesn't, no one cares how you look. Like, yeah, if you look fantastic, good. If you look like Hrithik Roshan, 100% great. But again, no one really cares apart from that. Right?
Sure.
What people really care about is about their problems.
Right.
Your creative should have a mix of authority and problem solving.
Got it.
You need to call them out.
Right.
Very, very, very clearly.
Right.
So, as a part of exercise, right before you start off, you need to do an exercise where you're understanding your customers in depth.
Okay.
What is their pain points? What is their desires? What is the myths in their head? Okay, what are the things which they are suffering from on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis?
Right.
Right. What are their habits looking like? What is their ecosystem looking like? What is the demographics like? What is their age? What is their gender? What is their location? What are the habits they do on a day-to-day basis? Are they married? Are they not married? Where are they coming from? If you can get a lot more information about your audience, it becomes a lot more easier because we exactly know. For example, if I'm promoting a finance coach, okay, I know that he's focusing on being not really aggressive.
Right.
And he has to target the audience which is not really aggressive. So I'm not doing a day trading course. I'm doing a long-term investment course.
Right.
Like, who would be interested in long-term investments? So my target audience is not 18 to 25 now. Straightforward.
Yeah.
Because 18 to 25 wants to make quick money.
Correct.
30 plus to 30 to 45 audience wants, now they understand the game. They want to invest in a long-term thing.
Right.
Now I have to talk to a 30 to 45 audience.
Yeah.
Now, what are they looking for? Hey, do you want your child's education to be taken care of with the salary you have right now?
Right.
Click on the link below to understand the way to do it.
Okay.
So I got this insight because I understood the audience.
Right.
Hey, do you want to retire your parents 10 years earlier?
Right.
Click on the link below and join our day trading course.
Got it.
This is for 18 to 25.
Okay.
You understood the difference?
Yeah.
What we are not doing is we are not playing on like the concept of just like make money. We are going a level deeper, playing in a level of emotion they want to really connect. Why do you want to make money?
Correct.
You want to make money to be comfortable or make people around you comfortable.
Right.
That is the two
Absolutely.
things.
Yeah.
So both the messaging, people like just go on a shallow stuff. Like, hey, make 2x money from your business, join this program. But why are you making money? Go a level deeper.
Yeah.
And get from the core emotion. So emotions work really well. Stories work really well. Now that is with respect to a graphic photo ad.
Yeah.
Now with a video ad, you get a lot more time.
Hmm.
Right? You get like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, or 10 seconds, 15 seconds time.
Right.
This is where the first 3 seconds come into the picture.
Okay.
The first 3 seconds should not only just attract the right set of customers, but also repel the wrong set ones.
That is very important, in fact.
Very important.
Yeah.
People forget that. They say like, hey, I'm attracting my audience now. Yeah, you're doing a good job about it. But how about your wrong set of customers?
Yeah.
Right? Even the same thing, what I wrote as a copy, that copy can be said out loud also. Hey, would you want to retire your parents the next less than 10 years, in the next 10 years? Well, the way to do it is let me reiterate. If you want to retire your parents in the next 10 years, the way to do it is you becoming financially free.
Oh, yeah.
Right? This is for a 18 to 25 audience. Now,
Right.
18 to 25 audience becoming financially free is a very big thing. For the 30 audience, for 30 to 45 audience, their goals are much more different, right? Hey, do you want to make extra money and make your family comfortable while doing your job? Well, this is exactly right for you. Try to understand how do you make money while you are doing your job.
Get that.
See the script, right? So it's all about copywriting. Copywriting is a very underrated skill. You need to learn copywriting, and if you learn copywriting, you'll be able to play with words.
Understood.
And you'll be able to put forth the right messages and the inner issues, inner desires they have right on their face. So if someone says what you want, what you're thinking in your head, on your face, people will connect.
Yeah.
Right? If I know, like when I'm talking to you, I know that like I know exactly what you want, and I'm just saying it out loud with you.
Right.
For example, like when we're talking about like cameras, like I know the struggle of like when you're starting out, I know how much cost it is putting in. So I told you right in your face, let us not go there, let's go this side.
Yeah.
That is where you connected with me, and we took it forward, right?
Correct.
So think of it on a large scale, on a mass scale.
Right.
Right. That is what good copywriting does.
Understood.
That is a very underrated skill. People have to learn that.
Right. Fair point. So, Vivek, the second part of the question, right, on the lead quality, out of these two platforms, Meta, Instagram versus Google, what do you think gives you a better quality of lead?
People think lead quality is just depends upon the platform. 100% depends. Google gives you better leads just because the intent of people searching on Google is much more higher. So if you want something, you search on Google, right? That is the thing. But what I say is the lead quality will also depend upon the offer and your creative.
Okay.
Yeah. Now with the platforms becoming much more driven by machine learning processes and AI processes, the platforms exactly know what you want.
Okay.
Right. It might be Google, it might be Facebook, it might be YouTube, it might be Instagram. Whatever the platform is,
right?
They already know what exactly you want.
Right.
So keeping that in mind, your creative should do like we said, it should attract the right set of audience and also repel the wrong set of audience.
Correct.
So that is one thing which is standing out. There are certain ways you can see Meta gives you a better lead quality,
Okay.
when you compare it to Google, right? So it depends. On a general perspective, Google has better lead quality by default because of the search intent, and also YouTube. YouTube is very, very similar to Meta, but what you need to understand is people think the next after Google, the next biggest search engine is Bing or Yahoo or something. No, it is YouTube. If you want something, people don't search it. People search it on Google or on YouTube because people are used to seeing information given to them in video.
Yeah.
The biggest search engine after Google is YouTube. So even YouTube has that kind of data because if it's linked with Google, also it has that kind of data. So you have that. One negative thing about YouTube is the YouTube Premium. Lot of 1% of the country takes premium.
The cream of the cream.
The cream takes premium, right? Me being an advertiser, I have premium, YouTube Premium, because YouTube Premium saves me a lot of time.
Oh.
Right? Forget the ads of it. It's okay. If you want to consume ads, I can consume ads in 100 different places.
Right.
But YouTube Premium saves me a lot of time. It's a good value added. As a product, as an offer, YouTube Premium is fantastic because you get music, you get the podcast, you get videos, everything without any uninterrupted flow.
Got that.
So YouTube Premium as a value is very, very good. So, but for an advertiser, it is you losing a top top percentile of your audience. So that is where you're going away. So keep that in mind when you're choosing what product, where do you have to go, where do you have to market, which platform you have to go for. Keeping that in mind, you have to play the game. But this is the game. Google is better than Meta on a broader spectrum, but your creative will make or break your campaign. It can get you better lead quality even through Meta.
Understood. On this one point, right, on the targeting side of it, right, from a filtration standpoint, let's say I want to filter customers basis the geography, basis the age criteria, basis the consumption pattern. You might be having all those filters, right? Which one gives you better filtration, the Google or your Meta?
Both, like slowly, both the platforms are taking out the filtrations because of the data they have. They want you to go just like put the ad. They're taking out the filtration slowly. So in even Google, it is something called as Advantage Plus campaigns are coming out. In Google, similar campaigns are coming out. So they're calling it plus campaigns, some at shopping plus campaigns, Advantage Plus campaigns, ASC campaigns, and all this stuff. Again, a little bit of technical stuff, but again, taking a step back, what it wants is eventually it wants a layman to put an ad out there.
Oh.
So have you seen like ever boosted something on your Instagram? Right? It is very, very easy, right? 3-4 clicks and you're putting money in it.
Yeah.
Eventually, they want that kind of ease of use to be given to much more technical platforms like the Facebook dashboards and Google dashboards. Because the more easier you make it, the more people are going to spend. That is the idea. Right? So that is what they're trying for. So what filtration works, both of it works, whatever it doesn't work. So that is the reason. That is why the focus has shifted from like filters to creative. So I'm literally reiterating it multiple times, creative. Because the creative is the game changer right now.
Understood.
And if you go a little further, we call it the velocity of creatives. So velocity of creatives means how many creatives are we generating with different messagings or different creatives in a span of, let us say, 1 week.
Right.
The velocity of creatives you're feeding back to the system is going to define whether your campaign is going to win or not. So this all factors in. So this is something we actively work on in our agency, and we are trying out different messaging. We are continuously giving it 100 different tests, 100 different scenarios to test to the platform. So the platform will tell them, okay, this is working, this is not working. I want more of this. So platform gives you that feedback.
Right.
Earlier, that kind of feedback used to come from the filters.
Okay.
Now that the filters are going away, we have to give it other way to test. So we're giving it that. So it is going to give us feedback. Based on that, we are playing the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that is what we're doing.
So people generally say boost on Instagram is something that hardly works versus Meta, as in the backend tool that you use, right? Which is better of the two? If I want to get better ROI on my investment on the ad.
Again, the question is, What do you mean by ROI? ROI, is it money or is it likes?
Let's take coaching as an example, right? I'm a coach and I want to sell my course.
So in that case, see, anyone out there, right? When you're boosting a post, what boost post gets you is likes and engagement. It doesn't get you money. It
Okay.
rarely gets you money. The way platforms is, they are buckets of audience. There is a bucket which engages with people. There is a bucket who just clicks on like. That will be in this bucket. There is a bucket who likes to go and check out products. That is another bucket. There is a bucket who actually buys. So Facebook has, Meta and Google have this kind of buckets of audiences. When you're doing boost, you're more likely to drop in the engagement bucket where the people are liking. So when you say ROI, if your return of investment is calculated on the views and the likes, your boost will work. It's a good place.
Okay.
But if you want to make money, then I would suggest you go on the business manager, Facebook business manager, or the Meta business manager, or the Google Ads dashboard. That there you get a little more freedom and autonomy to manage things. Boost is just to generate likes, and you just want to feel happy about like how many likes you got on your post. Fantastic.
Awesome.
That's the way to do it.
Awesome. I think Vivek, thanks for that deep knowledge on the marketing side of it. I want to now get into your other phase, which most of the content creators or people who follow you on YouTube, I want to understand that side of it, right? You are a podcaster. We said that in the beginning itself. You chose to start the podcast in Telugu, right? So I basically want to ask a couple of questions on that side and make this a masterclass of podcast. Why should somebody choose podcast?
Sounds good.
And why, is there a market for it, right?
Yeah.
In that sense, what will you be able to gain out of that whole podcast side of it, right? So why did you start podcast in first place?
Podcasting is the new age of podcasting is a new way of consuming knowledge for the new segment of audiences.
Right.
Earlier audiences used to consume information on news channels, in like through books, through something else. Now podcast has become podcast has always been in the last 10 years, but it will be in the West, in the US, in UK, in the Western countries. In India, podcast as a platform, podcast as a medium got really popular in the last 2 years. Right from COVID. When the players like Ranveer came into it, Raj Shamani came into the picture, these people came in, they popularized the entire segment of podcasts. Now, podcasts, then Nitin Kamath came in, Nikhil Kamath came in, and he created different, round table kind of things, right? Now, this is what people are aspiring. This is how they're consuming information and high-level information, right? That is how they're doing it.
Right.
Now, why should anyone do it? If they want to position themselves as an authority, or they want to learn from it and they want to give seamless information to people by bringing great people on the board, they can do podcasts, 100%. Now, I'm not going to get into why and what of it. Let me tell you how do we do it, because we want to talk about it as a masterclass.
Right.
When you're doing a podcast, all you need to do is you have to have 3 segments. You have to focus on 3 segments: pre-production, production, post-production.
Right.
In pre-production, again, there are multiple factors. You need to figure out who is your guest, what are you going to talk about, what is the theme of your podcast, okay, and then going to figure out where is the location of the podcast, where are you going to shoot, and then we're going to figure out what are the kind of questions we're going to ask. This is the pre-production phase. Once this is taken care of, that comes the production phase, where you're the day of the shoot.
Right.
On the day of the shoot, you have the guest, you have the host, you're sitting together, you have the questions, everything ready, and you have that is where the production team comes in. The mics, the cameras, the lights, the studio setup being ready, everything being in place.
Yeah.
This is where a lot of technicalities come in, like again, what is the distance of the camera, how do you set up, which cameras do you choose, how long are you going to shoot, all of this is going to come in.
Right.
Now, once that is done, then comes the post-production of it, where you're doing the editing and you're going to distribute the podcast.
Right.
Now, here is when you have to decide also how long is my podcast going to be. Is it going to be a 2-hour podcast? Is it going to be a 1-hour podcast? Do you want to cut a lot out of it? You want to have an unfiltered discussion to be put out in the market.
Right.
Then once it is done, then how do you promote it? How do you have a very good trailer coming out? How are you going to cut out snippets of it to promote it? Because understand this, even with long form content is actively being pushed,
Right.
short form content, the shorts are being more aggressively being pushed by the platforms like
Right.
the YouTubes and the Instagrams, right? Podcast has always been an audio first platform, but after the YouTube came into the picture, it became a video first platform.
Right.
Right? A lot of podcasts right now are on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they're getting distributed on YouTube and they're pushing it also.
Right.
YouTube in the last year, Mr. Mohan, who's the CEO of YouTube, he particularly told that podcast is going to be one of their cornerstones for the next coming 2-3 years.
Right.
So they are actively pushing it. But the distribution is still happening through short form content, which is shorts and the reels of the world.
Right.
So you need to make sure that your content is also optimized
Yeah.
for short form content. So it's a much more structured game.
Yeah.
So this is all you need to take care of. Now,
Sure.
individually, if you go from segment to segment, I can tell you what you need to take care of, what phases will you be stuck. But that being said, if anyone wants to start a podcast, you need to think about why are you starting a podcast?
Sure.
Why do you want to put the information out? What information do you want to put out?
Right.
What's your motto? Right? And what's the thing you want to extract from the guests?
Right.
That has to be very, very clear, because two things, this is a very tiring job. It's an expensive job.
Absolutely.
It costs you a lot. Again, if you're a bootstrap person, if you do not have a studio, if you don't have, it's going to cost you a lot. It has costed me quite a bit of money, right? And coming from a bootstrap background, it was a very consequential chunk of my yearly income.
Right.
So that, and again, the payrolls, you have to have a good team. You have to have the videographers in place. You have to have the editors in place. So it's you think of it like you're running a new media business.
Right.
Right? Unless you're like outsourcing it. But again, that is going to cost you money.
Yep.
Right? That's okay.
Yeah.
So this is one segment of it. The other segment, the most important segment people forget, is the distribution. How do you grow the podcast?
Right.
Because if your why is very, very clear, then your growth strategy can be designed around it. If I just want to do a podcast and I just want to grow, that is a very, very broad thing to say.
Right.
Right. So once your why is clear, then comes a growth strategy. You can sit down and can discuss, you can like strategize what kind of material is going to go out.
Sure.
So there is this in filmmaking, right? There is this kind of thing. The same footage, you can make a horror film, you can make a suspense film, you can make a drama film, you can make a family film, you can make a funny film. The same thing, just with the editing, right? So the editing, the way you're putting out every piece of content also will create an image of your podcast out there in the market.
Right.
So that is also very, very important. So that will also be factored into the distribution strategy. So this is all in all will play a very important game.
Get that.
That's how we started out. Backbenching with Vivek, when we started out with a mission that if we can tell entrepreneur stories in local languages from local leaders who are not really out there, then I think we will be making a good change. Right. So that was the idea behind it. And that is the reason we started it out. We started around 2024 February. Right now it's 2025 March. We grew from 0 to 130,000 subscribers.
Right.
In this meantime, it's a quite and very interesting journey. There are certain times, sometimes our reel hit 8 million views. There are certain times, there was times that we hit 8 million views. There are certain times we thought the reel is going to be fantastic. I think this is beauty knowledge. It doesn't even cross 500 views, even with like 50,000 subscribers. And it's such a roller coaster journey. What we've realized is we do not really care about the numbers now.
Okay.
We are as a team, on a broader picture, we have a goal which we want to hit. But on a day-to-day basis, we don't really care about the numbers which is going to hit, because our goal is putting out good unfiltered information out there.
Okay.
Right. So that has been our motto. Will this reel hit 8 million views? Will it hit 5 million views? Now, over a period of time, as a host, I've got to know what kind of questions to
Right.
ask.
Right.
Right. Over a period of time, I've learned the art of learning questions as a host.
Okay.
Right. So the same question can be asked in 3 different ways. Each can give inside a different answer.
Right.
And each can incite a different emotion.
Yeah.
So good podcasters can invoke an emotion
Okay.
out of a person than a technical knowledge.
Right.
If you're a technical podcast, that is a different game story. But if you want to go with a broader audience, you need to be able to invoke an emotion.
Yeah.
Right? So your questions are designed to not just come out with the knowledge, but also the emotion behind the knowledge also.
Okay.
So you as a host will also grow over a period of time. You will learn how to ask better questions. You will become a better articulate speaker.
Right.
You will be sought out. The fame will definitely come. Even now, when I walk out, there will be certain people, certain people like who just like keep looking at you, want to take a selfie with you, and this like there are certain times when I walk into a room, the people just like come and just like ask me business questions. Can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do that?
Right.
And I feel really, really nice that there's a conversation happening.
Yeah.
Around this, and there is kind of a fandom being built for entrepreneurs.
Get that.
We have always seen cricketers and cinema field, filmmakers, artists, actors being idolized. This is the age where entrepreneurs are idolized. And as me being a part of it, me being facilitating it, I feel like I'm doing a good thing.
Yeah.
That gives me happiness.
In fact, one of the things why I started was what you were saying, just to connect the dot, right? As a host, you also get to learn a lot in first hand, right?
100%.
You keep listening to all the stories on how they grew. While it doesn't come out as strategy, but then there's a lot of strategy that has been discussed, right?
People don't realize that. People think this is the conversation. We've been I came around 7:30. The time's around like 11 o'clock now. Right now, we've been talking consistently from 7:30 to 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Probably 1 hour content is gonna go out.
Yeah.
We've spoken a lot of strategy.
Absolutely.
We have spoken something which is we've discussed about how we can like collaborate. We can discuss about a lot of things, right? And just imagine getting that kind of unfiltered access from a person who is doing 1,000 crores in revenue, or a 500 crore in revenue, or 100 crore in revenue, or maybe like just like 3 steps before you. Right? Where do you get it?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Just getting the best knowledge from the horse's mouth is such a bliss.
Yeah.
Right? So that is kind of like a mentorship for me. And I can always give them a call. I can always give Pradeep a call. Pradeep, I'm like struggling with sales. This is where I'm stuck at. Can you help me out with this? I know you're going to help me out with it.
Absolutely.
You can always call me with things. I'm going to help you out with it.
Correct.
So we're building a network. We're building relationships, right?
True.
So podcasts are also a great way for any entrepreneur to build strong relationships. You might be in the top of the pyramid. You might be in the middle of the pyramid. You might be bottom of the pyramid. You can really build relationships by creating a podcast.
Correct.
That is what I've realized over a period of time.
Correct. So, one question, right? From an inviting guest standpoint, I see you just said 1,000 crore, 100 crore, 500 crore, more than 1,000 crore, right? How do you get access to them? How do you call them?
So, one is I have a decent network.
Sure.
So, I'm part of a few networks which will help me to reach them through people. So, that is one thing. Another thing is like blatantly cold emailing them.
Yeah.
I have a person in my team who constantly, her job is to, we have a list of guests we want to put forth before our audience.
Yeah.
We call them Dream 30.
Okay.
So we have 30 guests. So we want to, and we are constantly emailing them. We're constantly reaching out to them through every source possible. No, whenever I go to a network, whenever I go to a meeting, whenever I hear that guest's name, I just like go to them and talk to them and say that, hey, I've heard you do this. Is there any way that you are working with them? Yeah,
right.
Cool. Do you mind connecting with them with me? And then once it's done, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Right. Normally, what we do is I ask them, how can I help? And then I take them. But because with the Dream 30 list, we have flipped the script a little bit. We ask them, can you give me this contact? Okay. Then I ask them, how can I help you? Then I make sure that I am helping them also, because
Makes
They're
sense.
literally filling our dream.
Makes sense.
They're
yeah.
fulfilling our dream, right? It's called Dream 30 for a list. Reason. Right? So I'm very grateful to them. I keep in touch with them. I build a relationship with them. I'm very
Sure.
happy with them.
Sure.
But the thing is, this is how we do it. It is a mix of both.
Right.
But as your podcast grows,
Right.
getting guests will be much more easier. But I still remember when we were starting out, we've reached out to a lot of guests. They were like, you don't have members. You don't have really a... Again, I don't see it as... I know where they're coming from. They're putting in time and they are coming in, they're kind of promoting the businesses also because they're telling a business story. I understand where they're coming from. But again, I never took it as an insult. I took it as a business thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's how I see it. Like, yeah, that's okay. That makes sense. That as a business decision, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that everyone should think like me.
Right.
And that's okay with it. But the thing is, you have to also think on it's as a win-win. Right? You need to put in every form of effort to, project them in a different way. Right? Even now, there are certain times, I have my counterparts who are doing podcasts. They get a lot more views than we do. Right? But when a person wants to do a podcast, they reach out to us, they tell one thing, Vivek, we like the way you do questions. We like the way you're projecting the business.
Nice.
You don't do controversies. You don't do nonsense. You don't get into like unnecessary things. We like the way you're doing that. That's the reason we want to do a podcast. And that is what we want to invoke.
Makes sense.
If your why is very clear, no? If your numbers, even if you don't get numbers, it will work out because you're creating a kind of like a cult following for yourself. And that really there will be a time where you'll explode. And this cult is going to make sure that it's going to explode much bigger.
Right.
Because explosion happens. In your podcast also, you're going to explode at some point of time. There'll be a tipping factor. But your cult will decide, your community will decide whether how big you explode.
Get that.
Yeah, the word of mouth is going to be triple, quadruple, pentuple when you're doing this.
Right.
It's like that.
Yeah. In fact, I asked this question from a fresher standpoint because I recently happened to go visit a B school and I gave a talk as a visiting guest from the industry, given my previous experience of PhonePe, Paytm and Groupon. So one of the students asked me this question. So let's think of a student is wanting to start. What is that best strategy that you would recommend, on reaching out to the guest?
Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You just like be relentless and enthusiastic and tell them, hey, we would love to do this. This is what we want to do.
Right.
Like there are a lot of people, right, particularly entrepreneurs, they are happy to mentor people.
Right.
Like youth gives you that plus point. Right? If someone like even now, we accept as many requests as possible for me in my time place to come on feature on podcast. If someone is starting out, they call me on the podcast. I try to come as much as I can. Like right now, I think yesterday there's a podcast which is released of mine. They've shot it like 4 months back. Right? I try to do it as much as possible because the thing is, from me, I want to support the person who are coming out. Now, that kind of mentality, support mentality is there for a lot of entrepreneurs. You need to just like reach out. You just need to ask. Like if you don't ask, your mom is not going to feed you, right? So you just need to ask. But thing is, keep in mind that they are busy people. Like for example, if I continuously keep on asking for you and you're busy, certain times you're not really available. It's not just because you're an arrogant person. You're busy. And just keep that in mind. Don't take it too hard. Think of it like a sales. It's like if you hit to 10, you will get 3. Think of it in that math.
Right.
But be relentless.
Correct.
That is my thing. Even when someone is starting out, make sure that you're reaching out to good people and clearly telling them. People think people don't read long emails. Trust me, they do. There were times we emailed a guest which is around 300 words, 400 words. He read the entire thing.
Awesome.
And he came.
Yeah.
So yeah, People read.
In fact, my response to the kid was the same on what you said. So first thing was he asked me, how do you bring? So I said, I spent 15 years working for different companies, and I was rubbing shoulders with these CEOs, founders. They were on the other side of the table. So people know me by name. So it becomes easy for me. Having said that, if you are wanting to start, just do cold outreach. That's the best way.
Cold outreach.
And believe me, you will get responses. I would not say everybody will respond, but even if 2 people respond out of 10,
that's
you're in
win.
a very good position.
Very good.
You're in a very good position, and follow back on the remaining 8 after some time. They will come down.
They come down. Yes,
there will be a point when everybody will come. In fact, having so many connects, I still get Pradeep. Somebody very close to me was a client back then. I was helping them on getting clients for their business, and I reached out to them. He drives supercars. In fact, a lot of people know him. He's quite famous and has a lot of following. He has Lamborghini, Ferrari, all of that, right? So I had to sit with him and said, I call him bro, bhai. So bhai, why don't you come over, right? And he's like, I'm too busy running around doing 2-3 things. And I also believe probably me coming onto your podcast, not the right time. Maybe you should increase your follower base or get more subscribers. Then let us look at. That was the response. So he still said no in a very polite manner and said not the right time, which doesn't mean he will not come. He'll come at a later point in time. So you'll have a mix either way. Whether they know you, they don't know you. People will come. People will not come. You have 2 sides of the coin.
100%. It's good for a person to say no whenever you can, but
Vivek, while we keep speaking of podcast is definitely a education. As a people learn from it, right? That's the intent of it. In fact, I have done the same. I was learning and I was consuming very, very heavily. I was listening to Audible first. From Audible, I moved to YouTube. I was listening to all the podcasts. In fact, last day I used to follow Ranveer and Raj Shamani and Rojogan to an extent. And then I realized I actually sit with a lot of owners. Why not I do it as a host? The same curiosity that I used to have when I was on the other side of it, right? So from that standpoint, I got into this. Now, people keep telling me, Pradeep, your podcasts are too lengthy. I usually do about 1.5 hours time, right? 1 hour, 1.5 hour to 2 hours. Now, what is your take on the long form versus short form? Now, when I say long form again, 1.5 hours, then there are people who do 40 minutes. Then there are certain folks who do it only 20 minutes. And then there are reels on the other side. What is your take on this?
As long as you're engaging, you can do 3 hours also.
Yeah.
I watched Nitin Kamat's podcast, which are 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I watched a podcast with Oyo founder, and that was the lineup there were, right? I watched for 3 hours. I watched every 3 hour podcast of him.
Yeah.
I've watched podcasts of Lex Friedman, which are like 3.5 hours, 4 hours. I've listened again. I do it in breaks. Like again, whenever I'm driving, I'm just like keep it on and listen. Thing is, if you have the intent, right, the real intent, people will watch the entire thing as long as it's engaging and also educating at the same time. Right. Now, there's another set of audience. Now again, will the platform support it? Platform doesn't really care. As long as your people are watching, platform will push it.
Right.
If you want to go into masses, the mass hysteria comes in the short form content. Right? The shorter the content is, the more viewers you're going to get. Because when you're going and watching, think of it like a simple phenomenon. When you're opening a YouTube, when you're clicking on the YouTube, you see the time of the video right on the right, on your right side of the video. Anything which is crossing 1 hour 40 minutes or even like crossing 30 minutes also, it will give you a different. So there will be marks 8, 15, 30, 1, 120, 140, 2. This is marks. Like very actively people look at this marks. When you're looking at this marks, and if you're crossing everything, always remember whenever you're crossing 1, your viewership, your appeal, forget viewership, your appeal is going to go lower. So it's up to you to do what you want to do. Now, won't people watch a 1.5 hour video? Yeah, they'll watch it.
Sure.
They'll watch it. They'll watch. But will everyone watch it? Might not. So it's a mix. as long as you're engaging, as long as your podcast is engaging, as long as your content is engaging, people are going to watch it. And as long as it's educative, people are going to take notes also. There are people who send me notes. Anna, I've learned this from you on this podcast. Just sending you notes. Now, what we've decided is we're going to start doing. So I bought a book. It's called as Backbenching Notes. So whatever the guest I'm learning, I'm gonna just like scribble something, and I'm gonna release Backbenching Notes
Awesome.
to my audiences. Eventually, I'll probably create a book out of it.
Very
maybe
nice.
down the line.
Yeah.
But again, this is my idea because I've seen that this is really helping, right? If it is a proper podcast where people are learning, I might as well give my learnings also to them, because maybe in their phase of life they've understood this much. In my phase of life, I've probably understood a lot bigger. I've seen a bigger picture.
Right.
It makes sense that I project a bigger picture as part of notes.
Got
so
it.
that's the value add I am trying to give. So
Right.
that is the idea. So as long as it's engaging and giving value add, it should be fine.
Get that. In fact, the book thing that you were speaking of, so we've been discussing within our team, right? So we're getting so much of value add from the guests who are speaking, and we are very early in the podcast journey right now. So we decided that we will start keeping a track of every single learning that we derive out of the podcast, and we kind of keep a record of that. And the book thing, I think that's a good idea. In fact, say when you said that, I quickly had Naval Ravikant on my mind.
Yeah,
because Almanac, right? So the book basically is all his tweets put in the book, right?
And paraphrased.
Absolutely.
And explained.
Yeah,
That's the idea.
Right.
I'll probably call it the backbenching notes.
That's nice. Maybe I can call PowerUp notes.
Yeah, you could do that.
Good idea there. Yeah. So Vivek, now that podcast comes in with so much of investment, right? Honestly, I didn't realize I have to invest so much. But then when I was thinking I'll do it, I didn't think it is so expensive. But when I started putting things on a paper and started keeping the track of investment, because I realized it is investment heavy, but then so much I didn't think of, right? Now, if somebody's starting out, right, what are the monetization points in this podcast journey that one should probably look at? Where is that monetization that comes in?
Monetization comes hand in hand with distribution.
Okay.
Right? Till you achieve certain kind of distribution and you don't have a little bit of followers and community, you can't expect to be monetized.
Yeah.
People who are getting into this, keeping things like, hey, I'm going to get monetized by YouTube or Spotify, I would suggest you think again and come on to real data, because the amount I receive right now, I don't even think it'll be sufficient for my chai pani. Yeah, so it's not really possible.
Right.
You make money. You can make money because of the network you built.
Right.
Because if I'm now that I've done a podcast with you, right? Probably you like me, you want to work with me, you're opening up your clientele with me.
Right.
I'm opening up my clientele with you.
Right.
That is how we can do it. That we can collaborate. That is how one thing we can do money. We can monetize ourselves. Another is brand collaborations. That is very, very subject to distribution. Right. If you have distribution, then they are going to reach out to you. They're going to say, hey, can you put my product here? Can you put my product? That is one thing you can monetize. Again, there is levels depending on brand. Platforms like gaming platforms, betting platforms will give you a lot of money. But there are times where we said like no to a 10 lakh promotion because it is into gaming and betting. I don't want to. We don't want to be in there. I don't really promote it. I don't really enjoy it. I don't do it myself. I think it is wrong. I think it is killing a lot of people. I see, and right now there is a revolution happening in the Telugu community regarding the betting apps and everything. I think that is the best thing that can happen, because yeah, that's completely wrong. I've seen lives being destroyed, and not even lives of higher class people. I've seen lives of auto drivers destroyed because of this. I have a house in Vizag. The maid in house, her son, he's an auto driver. He lost 4 lakhs. He spent 4 lakhs. Let me rephrase. He spent 4 lakhs. He lost that money because of betting apps. Now, knowing the stories firsthand, it gives a fiduciary responsibility for me not to do it, not to promote it, being in the place of power. So, again, similarly, good products. If you believe in the product, you can always promote. You can always put it forward.
Right.
You can do brand collaborations. That is one thing. Then other ways to monetize it is just pushing your products as a part of it. For example, people are looking at us doing this podcast, the way we grew. A lot of people want us to produce their podcast. So we are coming up with products where we are producing their podcasts. We are working with entrepreneurs right now to produce their podcasts. We are building right from our team to building their sets to producing the entire thing, editing the entire thing, distributing the entire thing, growing their entire podcast. We're taking care of it. As a service, we're providing it. So that is also really, really helping. So you either push your product or you push someone else's product.
Yeah.
That is the two ways to monetize it. You can also do certain sponsored podcasts down the line. But again, that is a personal choice. If you would like to do it, you can do it. If you do not want to do it, you cannot do it. Right. I don't have an opinion on it. I am as long as they are benefiting with our things and it's a win-win. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's the thing.
Betting things, I think you rightly pointed out. Absolutely, no one should get into that because I have not seen any positive outcome of it. No. I've always heard negative stories around how it's cruel, how it screwed some people. In fact, I was Shriman, right? Shriman Kotaru. He's my neighbor. And we both were catching up, and I was just trying to understand how he makes money, etc. One thing he clearly said, Pradeep, just in case you were getting into this, right? YouTube as a journey, never ever entertain any betting apps. And he's one person I have a lot of respect for. While he's a friend today, he's very high on what brands he chooses. And I definitely want to take that learning from him. On how to choose a brand and what to say no, right? Betting app for sure is a no. And every content creator out there actually should not entertain any betting apps. The kind of money that they were pouring, in fact, Shriman got approached by someone and he was telling the kind of money that they told him was like crazy. I said, Shriman, you saying no to something like that was wow, and respect to you, man.
So that's what, like, for me, 10 lakhs as an amount is my 4 months to 5 months budgets to run the podcast. I could have made 10 lakhs. The power to say no is such a, it refreshes you. It grounds you and tells you, okay, you're not doing it for money, you're doing it for something bigger, and this kind of things can't really benefit you. And one more thing is, you have a responsibility when you're creating content. That responsibility has to be put out. It is not a quick given game, guys. You can come in, you can make money, you can leave. If you want to do that, feel free to do it. But if you have a long-term vision, I don't want you to get into this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Anything which is benefiting and helping others, anything that you use, maybe you can look at promoting that. Otherwise, just stay away from anything that you think is not good for you, your family. Definitely don't promote anything like that.
Would I suggest this to my brother is the question I ask every time.
Brother or sister or whoever it is, right? Within your family, as long as you're not okay taking something like that in your family for your kid or your father, mother, or anybody around your family, just don't do it. Anything that you don't want them to use it, don't promote it. Simple.
That's the idea.
So Vivek, what is next for Vivek? Vivek is a marketer. Vivek had international business. Vivek has a marketing business. Vivek is on YouTube and doing podcasts and getting business learnings and passing on those learnings to people. What's next? What's the future for Vivek?
We have, again, we do an annual meetup with all of our clients and also with our team. So we do it with our clients and then we do it with the team. So in our team, I told them, I'm going to get you 100 clients this year.
Wow.
That's the number which we told ourselves. We're going to get 100
15
clients.
people team.
Yeah.
And 100 clients.
Yeah.
That's big, man. How are you going to manage that?
We're going to do it. We have a good freelance network. We'll be able to manage it.
All right.
We say we're going to get 100 clients. Now, that is one thing. Another goal which we set ourselves for us is we're going to hit 500,000 subscribers in Backbenching with Vivek.
Okay.
Because I'm contradicting what I told is I don't care about the numbers, but the thing is the numbers bring value in the market.
Right.
Even though I'm being a lot of idealist, I'm still being practical.
Right.
Right? I want to hit 500,000 subscribers, but by doing what we're doing, not just by hacks. Right? There are certain people we want to bring and we would love to bring, and they will be reaching out to us only when we do 500,000 subscribers.
Right.
So for that, I would like to do that.
Yeah.
So one of the dream guests which we have is Mr. Chiranjeevi.
Oh,
We want to get him.
Awesome.
Right? And he's a film actor, but he also does business. He's also a political leader. He has also been this. So I would love to just me sitting beside him and just learning from him is going to be a great experience from him. Absolutely. And I want to experience that in my life. That is going to be highlight of my life because I've grown seeing his films. I've sat down with my dad, my grandfather, sat his films, clapped for his films, whistled for his films. For me, that is going to be an experience of my lifetime. So I would like to do that. And that is going to be achieved only when I do 500,000 subscribers that I have in my head.
Right.
That is one more goal. I also want to start a product-based company.
Awesome.
That is something we are actively looking into, working towards, because we have always been into services. We have done a little bit of product, but we want to actively push a product-based company. Great. That's something which we are looking into. Right. So the next 1 year, the big goals are 100 customers for our agency. And also we want to do the 500,000 subscribers for the podcast. Going 5 years down the line, I would like to build a product-based company and grow the product-based company to a good revenue. Right. Will it bring a lot of valuation? Fantastic. But awesome. I would like to get into a good revenue. I want to understand the way of how the product-based company works. Right. So something on the scale of like a PhonePe or a Paytm. I'm looking at those. But I think that is possible with the new AI coming in. Probably I can do something around that. We are still working on it. So awesome. Yeah, probably next time when we do a podcast, maybe I can open up about that.
That's interesting. Yeah. So on the suggestions point of view, right? Anybody who's seeing this podcast and they're considering YouTube solo videos or whether a podcast format, what is your advice for them?
Just do it.
Yeah?
Just do it.
How do they overcome the fear of coming in front of camera? I had that.
Just do it. I think majority of the people can keep thinking that, hey, am I looking good? Yeah. Am I speaking well?
Right.
But the thing is, understand, we are at a population of 130 crores in India.
Right.
A person who is doing a video on JCB putting out dirt has 2.5 million views. JCB plowing dirt from the land and putting on the left has 2.5 million views. Now tell me, is JCB good looking? Is JCB afraid of becoming before the camera? If JCB can do that, you can definitely do that.
Got it.
Right? So just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't think whether am I good looking. I'm not good looking. I'm decent looking. I'm neat. Right. You're great. You're neat. Right? So don't think about that. We come with a pedigree. We have been trained how to speak from our motherhood, from our childhood. Sorry, not motherhood, childhood. If you're always sitting in between your friends and you're able to talk and you're able to engage the crowd, that means you're already trained. Right. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Right. So just do it.
Got it.
You'll learn in the process. Right. I had a huge issue about talking business terms in Telugu when I started out. I knew that it was an issue. Over a period of time, I've learned how to do that. I've got a little better. Even now I get comments like, can't you just talk in Telugu all the time? Because it's hard for me to converse in Telugu about businesses. If I have to talk and sit down, just talk about movies or something else in Telugu, I can do it because that's how I consume movies.
Get that.
How did I consume business? Through English.
Understood.
So it's hard for me, but I've learned.
Yeah.
Right. Even day before yesterday, we were doing a podcast with one of the commentators in Telugu, Kaushik. He was sitting with me and I was asking him, Kaushik, how do you do this? Kaushik, how do you make sure that you don't start mumbling? So he was telling me vocal exercises, how to start. He was teaching me all of this stuff. Awesome. So the thing is, you learn a lot in the process. You'll get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of orators. You get meet a lot of visionaries. You learn. So don't overthink it. The outcome will always overcome, will foreshadow or like shadow your fear.
Yeah.
once you do it, the outcomes which you come out will definitely see that, hey, it's worth it, man.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen in the journey.
Yeah.
So you should just do it.
Right. How should somebody pick up a niche? Which niche should this be?
Passion plus profitability equal to niche. This is the equation I follow.
Okay.
If something is you're passionate about something. For example, I'm passionate about movies.
Right.
Okay. I did not see me getting money from movies. I took a step back. I said, how can I use my core value, storytelling? So then I came to marketing. So passion plus profitability equals to niche.
Got that.
Right. So
Got that.
that's how I do it.
So anything that you like and love and you think that will help you get some money is what you sort of pick up and start doing it.
If you're not able to do that, then understand the core skills that is required to which made you love something.
Right.
Then see where that core skills are being utilized, and then you can add it to profitability and you can.
Yeah. So how I believe is, you write what are you good at, right? And then see, again, taking your analogy here, if I'm good at say 5 things, then rate which of these do you think will the payout come in, and then you probably pick up that as a niche and then start on it. And one of the things that I learned from top YouTubers out there, the niche keeps changing. It's okay to evolve as you start. So start with one element and then you change over a period of time. Yeah.
It's better that that works for different vlogging, lifestyle kind of content. But if you are in a particular niche and you're projecting yourself as a expert in finance or expert in something, right? You need to stick to that.
Subject matter expert.
So you're like subject matter expert. You need to stick to that.
If
you are kind of like a lifestyle based content, that means people are following you for the lifestyle, so they're gonna travel on your lifestyle. That will work for them. You can switch, but you're a subject matter expert, you need to stick to your subject matter. That's one thing I've also learned.
Sounds fair actually.
For example, for our friend Sriman also, when I was talking with Sriman, he said, Vivek, you know what, I used to do moto vlogging content. Now that I've shifted a little bit to business and also a little bit towards lifestyle content, my audience didn't understand, right? It took a little bit of time for them to have that switch. Now, he was one of the very few people who very successfully switched it. It's very hard. You ask him, he'll tell you it's very, very hard, right? So it's hard. So just be conscious that you're getting into very tough territory.
I'll probably call him onto the show.
Yeah, you should. You should definitely call Sriman. He's a great speaker.
Yeah.
He'll tell you a lot of things.
Sure. So Vivek, before I close the note, right, 2 things. One, I'm like around close to 900 subscribers at this point in time. What is that you would recommend me to grow?
Just being consistent. And putting out a lot of content out there in multiple ways. Right? One more thing I would suggest, because if you have the network, go and reach out to people offline. Right? Just go and give talks, go and promote your things and offline things. That will really, really work. With respect to algorithm, create a lot more short form content, putting it out there will really work for you.
Sure.
But again, the messaging has to be much more clearer. You should, because there's a plethora of people doing podcasts around business and English. You have to figure out a way to stand out. You have to figure out a way that they have to watch, because end of the day, everyone has 24 hours and they're watching 6 hours of YouTube. We have to prioritize you before someone else, right? So you have to give you that kind of time. So you need to give them a reason why you have to do it.
Understood.
So for that has to be, and that has to be marketed also.
Get that.
Reason has to be marketed very, very actively.
Right.
That has to go in your brain and you have to do it actively. I think that should really help.
Point. Is there a question that you think I should have asked and I didn't ask? What is that?
I think we've covered a lot of questions. One of the questions which people I think should ask me is,
Go on.
Is it okay to fail?
Okay.
I believe we have to teach our kids, our younger generation, to fail faster.
Sure.
And from the earlier ages.
Right.
I suffered a lot in my life because I did not know how to deal with failure, and that happened at very in my 20s, 21, 22 years. When I was 21 years, I failed for the first time.
Early
Did not know
20s.
how to deal with it, and because of that, my 3-4 years got terribly suffered,
Got it.
and that put me on a little bit of back foot, right? So the thing is, when I look back, it's just because I don't know how to deal with failure.
Understood.
So parents should teach their kids, teach the younger generation to deal with failure, learn how to deal with failure, and should be okay with it. And even the parents should be okay with failure, because failure, like we completely say, no, failure is a part to success, but we don't implement it.
Yeah.
We keep on saying failure is part to success and all that stuff, but parents know, they're like, the minute someone fails, people like they start panicking. That is a bad mentality to be in. Failure, be okay with failure, learn how to overcome it, because don't see it as a short-term game. People overestimate what they can do in a single day and underestimate what they can do in a year. Right? Now think of it in a longer term.
Right.
You have an entire lifetime to fix.
Correct.
Right? So if you have failed, that's okay. What next can we do to fix it? Where did we learn? So learning and improving is something, mindset, something has to run. So I think that is one thing I hope people ask me a lot more, like what is about failure. But yeah, I think that's been covered.
Great. Great. Thanks for taking time out, Vivek, and coming to our studio. This is the first shoot in the studio that we have built.
Yeah, all the best for this. I hope you do a lot more shoots. I hope you grow a lot more. I hope I will be part of this journey. I'll be featured in a lot more podcasts in here going forward. Recurring guest, Vivek. But all the best. Any support needed, I'm always there. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thanks
you,
a lot.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for coming in.
Thank you.